The sport is sponsored by Taco Bell. Padres start 1-2 on their opening weekend against the Detroit Tigers. They will be back tonight at Petco Park hosting division rival the San Francisco Giants, who went 0-3 in their first three games. Games at 6:40. Walker Buehler will be making his debut for the San Diego Padres, and the Giants will be going with Landon Roop. And the Final Four is set. We got UConn against Illinois, and we got Michigan against Arizona. Michigan and Arizona are the co-faves at the sports books. UConn is taking the majority of the bets, though. New crispy chicken crunch wrap sliders at Taco Bell with all white meat nuggets in your choice of creamy chipotle or jalapeno honey mustard inside. One's a snack, more's a meal at participating U.S. Taco Bell locations for a limited time while supplies last.
I'm Ben Fletcher. That's Sammy Long.
Well, we know that, but it's a little different now. More on that later. Meanwhile, the Final Four is set.
Arizona returns to the Final Four with a 15-point win over Purdue.
The Wolverines are on their way to their 9th Final Four.
Oh, the bracket wreckage.
The Fighting Illini, they are headed to the Final Four.
You got a steal for Mullins. Long three. He got it. Oh, he got it with 3/10 of a second left to go. UConn has taken the lead. UConn wins it 73-72. The UConn Huskies are going back to the Final Four.
And the Padres with an up-and-down weekend.
Line to right field, in for a base hit for Fernando. Here comes Sermina around. The throw will be cut off. Padres are on the board.
Tonight, it's the Giants at Petco. Plus,
I like the Atlanta Hawks plus 4.5 against Boston.
Are you sure about that?
Pandora and Thurman going the distance.
Oh, God, that's funny.
I got Israel Adesanya minus 135 on the money line. That's exactly right. And I like Michigan State to pull the upset against UConn.
Wow, that's terrible.
now from the San Diego Sports 760 studios, we go in the zone with Fletch and Sammy.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Ben Fletcher, Sammy Long, name change to start the show. How about it? It is the Fletch Zone. Get that crap out of here. I honestly thought that name was dumb from the beginning. It is now the Zone with Fletch, yours truly, and Sammy sitting behind the board. Sammy Long over there.
Hell yeah.
It is a bit of a day of announcements here on San Diego Sports 760. You will hear them all throughout the day here. Stay tuned. The next big one's coming at 2 o'clock. Then there's another one at 3 o'clock. But to start it off, this is our show. This is Ben Fletcher, Sammy Long. We go till 2 o'clock on a daily basis. Love being here. Love everybody who's a part of it. Keep it coming in live on YouTube every day at San Diego Sports 760, live on X every day at Fletch and Sammy. You can find us there. Audience participation, massive part of the show. So drop us your comments, drop us your text, 70470. Start your message with team. And I can promise you this, we'll be doing it for a long, long time. All right, it is San Diego Sports 760. Busy couple hours here today on the show. We do have a giveaway for you today. How about Charlie Puth at Viejas Arena on April 22nd? One of the most handsome men in pop, Charlie Puth, will be at Viejas coming up in April. If you want tickets to that show, just keep on listening. We're going to talk lots of Padres today. We're going to talk lots of March Madness today. We're going to talk lots of UConn disrupting Duke's plans in just a little bit here. But we will start with the San Diego Padres, who win 1 out of 3 in their opening weekend against the Detroit Tigers. So I don't know if we overreact to this, if we go crazy. I think about this. Padres are second place in the NL West. Dodgers already creating some separation. They're 3-0. Everybody else is 0-3, and the Padres are 1-2. So as we kind of move forward throughout the season, do we all panic right now because the Dodgers are starting to widening the gap in the NL West already? Is everyone giving up on the NL West already? We can talk about it for sure, but I don't know if that's the case. I don't know how much I take away from this weekend against the Detroit Tigers, if I'm being completely honest. The offense looked like crap. 2 of the 3 pitchers look like crap. Mason Miller's new intro is incredible. That's sort of what I take away from the first 3 games of the Padres season. Sammy Long, how was your weekend?
It was good. It's hard when you take a look at the Padres because anytime we talk about baseball earlier on in the year, we're going to get texts of, hey, it's 3 games. And we understand that
it's early.
But our job is to obviously take a little bit of a in-depth look at this thing. And it's no reason to panic yet. We're not sitting here talking about, oh my God, this team's going to be terrible. There are some of the concerns, though, that we talked about over the offseason of the starting pitching. It was great seeing. I got to give Fletch a lot of credit. Randy Vasquez called that. You said he would be the ace of the rotation a week ago. He looked fantastic. And then but the bats weren't necessarily there, scoring 7 runs over 3 games at home. Again, if they would have went 1-2 on the road in Detroit, I think you would have sat there and went, Detroit's a really good baseball team with World Series aspirations, and against they lined up their best pitchers. I mean, Skubal, Valdez, even Flaherty was a good pitcher for the Dodgers when he was there a couple years ago. But it was a little lackluster in the sense of at home. Hell, Fletch, we were down there Thursday for opening day. The city's on fire, excited for the series, in the lack of bats. That storyline, I think, in the offseason went a little kind of under the radar because the starting pitching void was so massive. We looked at that as like, who is going to be pitching tonight? And it's going to be Walker Buehler and then Germán Marquez. But this team didn't hit for a lot of power last year. I believe they were 28th in power for the whole season. And again, small sample size over 3 games, they could absolutely destroy tonight.
Against very good pitching, by the way. Give the Tigers credit. They've built a fantastic rotation.
It's just sometimes when I hear that, and it's 100% true.
Yeah.
They go, it's like, well, if the Padres, we know the Padres are a good baseball team, but if the Padres want to get to the next level, that's the pitching you're going to see in the postseason.
Right.
And again, I know the 3 games in, we're miles away from the postseason, from even that talk, but over 3 games at Petco Park, I was a little disappointed how lackluster the bats were, even over the pitching.
So the biggest problems last year were lack of power and lack of hitting with runners in scoring position. I believe they had 1 home run over the first 3 games, which again, small sample size, and they were terrible with runners in scoring position. So you look at the problems of last year, the problems were there again this year. Now, a huge positive for the Padres last year was they got unexpected strengths in starting pitching. Nick Pivetta wasn't supposed to come in and be an ace last year. That's exactly what he was. By the numbers, Randy Vasquez wasn't supposed to be a serviceable number 3 or number 4 starter a year ago. That's exactly what he was a year ago. Michael King wasn't supposed to be injured all of last year. He was injured for a lot of it, but when he was on the field was very productive. If I'm worried about anything leaving this first series, it's not that the Detroit Tigers, who have an excellent pitching staff, kind of ran through the Padres lineup. It's the fact that the Padres' top 2 pitchers coming into the year both really struggled. And Michael King, I guess the final line isn't quite as, or it's worse than he actually pitched. I thought Michael King did some nice things.
Yeah, he was all right for a little bit
on Friday, but it is a worry when Nick Pivetta and Michael King, who you're kind of expecting to be the big 1-2 punch on a team that's competing for a World Series, it wasn't a whole lot of 1-2 punch. In fact, it felt like they were getting knocked out for the most part. Now, I think there's a really funny thing that happened this weekend, and it's like if you can just picture behind the scenes with the Padres, what went down. So clearly, Mason Miller took over the internet after Saturday night's game. And
that was fantastic.
The Korn intro, what's the song? Blind by Korn?
Yeah.
Great song.
Apparently the locker room helped pick it.
Dude, it's perfect. Everything about it is great. The light show at Petco Park. Here's where the humor comes in. Whoever's like in the background working the computer and stuff is like, opening night Thursday. He's like, oh man, can't wait till the 9th
Can't
inning.
wait. Let's get it ready,
we're
baby.
We're gonna play some Korn. It's gonna be crazy. The whole world's gonna see it. Okay. Mason Miller's not pitching tonight because the Padres are gonna lose. All right, game number 2. Wait till you see this. Friday night couldn't be better. Under the lights at Petco. We're gonna queue up some Korn in the 9th. He's not pitching again, Mason Miller. He's gonna be out of this one. And then finally, it happened on Saturday night, and it was very cool.
Saturday is the epitome of how the Padres want to play baseball.
Sure.
They got a lead.
Wait, are you saying shutting out the opponent is a good thing?
It is a good thing.
What?
It's what you try to do.
It's a Jim Russell fact.
Jim Russell fact. You try to not let the other team score. Try to score more than them. Shocker for everyone. But I mean, that the Padres, Randy Vasquez gave you a lot as a starting pitcher, and then the bullpen came in and was lights out and shut it down. Now, Friday was surprising with Jeremiah Estrada. He didn't obviously end the season super well last year, did pitch well in the series against the Cubs, but down the last month or 2 of the season was kind of struggling. My concern early, and again, we know it's extremely early. We have a very small sample size, but on Saturday, it's great that the Padres can do that, where they can get a lead and a couple run lead and then just shut the game down. I don't want that to be the fallback crutch for Craig Stammen this early. It can't be that you're taxing the bullpen night in, night out. And I get it. People want to see the bullpen. It's probably the most electrifying part of the team. It's an all-star cast. But if we're looking over, since baseball is a marathon in July, in August, in September, and October, you got to have these guys healthy, and you can't just be the bullpen coming in to save you every single night. So that's where tonight is such a big outing. we'll see what we get from Walker Buehler and if he can add something to the table. And there's certainly some positions up for grabs in the starting rotation for the Pods.
All right, we got a bunch of texts rolling in. We'll try to get through most of them throughout the show today, but 70470, start your message with team. Hit us up on the text line. We'll talk Padres on the text line for the most of the day. We're going to get some March Madness coming up in just a little bit. Chaos in the Elite Eight that we'll get to in a second here, but it is time for the Big Three, where Sammy Long rips through the top stories in the world of sports. Sammy, smash it.
Your lunch break is here. Ready to go back to the office and knock the socks off your friends? I mean, coworkers? It's time for the top stories of the day. The Big Three.
We did get a text from the 913 that said no baseball on Sunday felt odd. I needed it yesterday for the Padres.
It's very weird.
I was thinking the same thing. Like, it's so nice having a Sunday afternoon or like a noon, 1 o'clock
and on
game.
opening weekend, it's
Right.
odd that you wouldn't. Like, I get maybe 2 months from now, you give them an off day on Sunday, but
Even like Sundays just in general during baseball season, I feel like every team should be playing across the league. It was weird yesterday. Maybe it's a one-off. I haven't really looked forward to the schedule. But Sammy, where are we heading?
okay, let's start with college basketball because it'd be remiss not to be talking about everything that happened. We're going to get to it all in the next segment. But what was worse, and this is very ironic that this both happened, Duke and UNC in the same tournament blew 19-point leads, exactly 19-point leads. Duke obviously blew it yesterday to UConn, and North Carolina blew it in the first round to VCU. What was the worst loss?
I'm going to go with Duke. North Carolina, well, yes, they have expectations each and every year going into the tournament because they're North Carolina. No one looked at this North Carolina team and said national championship. Duke, on the other hand, absolutely did. And you felt like they were the more talented team than UConn. Hell, I would go as far to say as they outplayed UConn for 90% of that game. And it was really the final 5 minutes where UConn charged back and made everything happen. But the Duke one is just so inexcusable, mainly because of how the final play of the game went. It's like you give up the 19-point lead, sure. But then you have the lead with 10 seconds left. By the way, 10 seconds is the time you can hang out in the backcourt without getting a penalty. 10 seconds and then under. And they turn it over because of a pretty simple 1-3-1 trap at midcourt, and you try to throw through it. Like, there are so many ways for Duke not to have lost that game, and they picked the one way to lose that game. The Duke one was worse by far.
I'm going to agree with you. Now, I heard some people talking about this morning on ESPN. Now, obviously, North Carolina, it led to a firing, but I am with you not having Caleb Wilson, who's going to be a lottery pick in the NBA draft. If Caleb Wilson was there, I might look to VCU because at least with Duke, you're losing to UConn, a team that is perennially in the picture, is a blue blood, one of the best, if not the best program in the last 25 years in college basketball. Both were inexcusable. You feel bad for Caden Boozer. Someone who's not getting enough credit or criticism today, John Shire had 2 timeouts. He had 2 timeouts. And look, I get it. If you're John Shire, you're sitting there going, he has 2 guys wide open down the floor. But how are you not calling a timeout when your true freshman sitting there and he's freaking out with the ball in his hands? You have 2. I mean, inexcusable. Both were bad. Hubert Davis gets fired for North Carolina, but I do think because it's the Elite Eight, because the Final Four berth was on the line, Duke was. I mean, that's just terrible.
Think about all the ways Duke didn't lose that game, right? Like, so they get the ball in the backcourt, like you said, call timeout. That would make more sense. The trap is coming. You can kind of see it coming as a coach. That's part of what you get paid to do is call timeouts in those situations. But also, it remind me, I don't know, I don't have the name off the top of my head. The player who threw the ball away for Duke, do you remember his name? It's
not Gongba, but was it Foster?
Maybe. It's not super important, but the guy who tried to split the double team and throw the ball down to the front court could have passed it backwards. You were well within the 10-second violation. You had no problem there. Could have, by the way, chucked the ball as high as you want in the air.
Yeah.
There was 7 seconds on the clock left. That probably gets you 3 or 4 seconds. And if you throw it down to the other end of the court in the air, there's no shot UConn's getting a good look at 3. There were so many ways for this not to go the way it went for Duke that it's just so inexcusable. All right, Sammy, what's next?
All right, let's head to the NFL. Kind of a weird story. So the Browns put a proposal on the table. Now the NFL owners are all meeting out in Phoenix right now as we speak.
Some golden quotes coming out of these meetings.
Yeah, there's actually a ton of NFL news. But so this one was kind of odd. So the Browns put a proposal where you could trade up to 5 years worth of first round picks. You currently cannot do that. I believe the rule is 3 years. You can only trade 3 years worth of first round picks. I'll check that in a second, but I'm pretty sure I'm right on that. The Browns were saying, let's extend it to 5. And they had this whole push behind it. And then they just pulled it today. They pulled the proposal as of this morning. But people are still kind of kicking around the league the idea of why can't you trade more than 3 first-round draft picks? Do we think they should be able to expand the amount of picks involved in the deal?
It seems very short-sighted to me to do this now. Like, if you think about the NFL right now, who is worth paying up to your next 4 or 5 years worth of first-round picks? There's maybe only 2 names on the list. It's like Patrick Mahomes and Joe Burrow. Right, exactly. So maybe the Browns were kicking the tires on a potential Joe Burrow trade that would have rocked the universe, and then found out that it wasn't going to happen ever.
I think we're still seeing ripple effects from the Luka Doncic trade and the Micah Parsons trade. We have seen in the span of the same year 2 massive trades of 2 peak stars at their sport. And then we heard rumors about Lamar in the offseason. We've heard rumors about Joe Burrow. And for a quarterback, to your point, and you're right, the only way you give away 4 years worth of draft picks, 5 years worth of draft picks is because you're getting not a good quarterback, a great franchise-altering quarterback.
Right, there's only 5 of them in the league you would even consider doing this for.
So, I mean, I think you should be allowed to do it. I think it would create more parity there's a lot of parity in the NFL. But, I mean, why not? If a team is willing to give up 4 years or 5 years worth of draft picks for a star quarterback, I think you would see less franchise quarterbacks just staying with their teams, and you would see more movement. Because Burrow, I mean, if the Rams offered 5 first-round picks for Joe Burrow to the Cincinnati Bengals, you don't think they wouldn't think about that?
I would think about it, man. I would think about it in a heartbeat. And by the way, it's probably good for both teams if that were to happen. Like the Bengals the Bengals get an extra few first-round picks. Browns getting a franchise quarterback. It makes sense. Let's hold it for the other side, Sammy, and then we'll get to Big 3, number 3, right after this break. We also have those tickets for Charlie Puth in April at Viejas Arena. If you want to win those, keep listening. They're being given away in the next 10 minutes. Don't go anywhere. It's San Diego Sports 760 live on the iHeartRadio app. San Diego Sports 760, The Zone, with Ben Fletcher and Sammy Long, with you till 2 o'clock here.
You're in the zone.
We're in it, baby. In it to win it. 913 says The Zone is a cool name. Thank you, 913. 619, The Zone, sure, as long as it's still just you boys. Heart quacked.
Oh, quacked.
What up, Quack?
guy.
We're not going anywhere. Don't you worry about that. 913, let's hope Arise doesn't go for 4 for the next
Dude,
3 games.
I know.
It's going to happen, right? Like, we all understand.
He's going to have a big series.
Luis Arise, who never hits home runs, is probably going to have 3 jacks over the next 3 days. Just wait for it. It's going to happen. That's what happens when somebody gets traded. YouTube chat is all about ABS. I loved it, man. Now that we had an opening weekend, I watched a ton of baseball this weekend, man. All up and down the NL West. I really enjoyed having baseball back this weekend. But you got to see a ton of ABS. I think 175 pitches were challenged.
It's a fun element to the game.
I think it's great, man. It's kind of, you see the different fan bases react to it. You see the different, you know who had the most success with it, right? Catchers. Catchers were right like 65% of the time, I think. Batters were the worst by far, which I think is predictable. You take the emotional element of it, and like a batter thinks that their eye is better.
And saving face, you're just I'm emotionally challenged immediately.
Yeah, so batters were around 35%. I can't remember the exact number. Catchers were at like 64%. Pitchers were right around 50%. But across the league, it was like 54% of calls were overturned. So you give the challenge a slight edge. Out of 175, it's pretty close to 50-50. I didn't expect that, if I'm being honest.
Like after watching the Padres game opening day, then I watched the Diamondbacks Dodgers, the NBC game, and Oral Hershiser made an interesting point. He's talking about to that end that catchers are going to be the best because they know where the zone is. But pitchers, it's hard for a pitcher to challenge because by the time they release the ball and come off the mound, you're not looking straight down the hill. So it's like I'm curious as this gets kind of more refined because it felt like opening weekend. Everyone was just like, screw it. Why not? Let's challenge. Let's see it again from a batter perspective. Who gets to call it? What's going to be the first blow up someone has when some no name ninth, hitter.
We didn't see a game decided by one yet, which when that happens, it's going to be a problem.
And I'm just curious when that happens. It'll be soon. It'll happen in the next week or two because of the amount of games. I'm excited to see the kind of politics behind who gets to use ABS. Not only from that, like a relief pitcher. Is a relief pitcher coming in? Is Mason Miller, you would think, would get to use one, but is David Morgan? Does he have the leash to be using ABS?
We'll find out. We'll find out. I think catchers are the only people who should have a for sure green light. I think batters, there almost needs to be a conversation beforehand with the coach. I don't think it should just be uniform throughout the entire lineup. Like if there's no runners on base, I don't think you should ever be allowed to use it.
Right.
And depending on what inning it's in, but if there's a runner on third with 2 outs, I would make the argument that even if it's borderline, you're using that thing if you strike out looking. So I don't know the psychology behind it, but we're going to find out more. Every team's going to be a little bit different. I liked how pacey it was. I don't think
it was fast.
It did not interrupt game flow whatsoever. It was, hey, tap on the head from a catcher, and then boom, within 5 seconds we found out.
And it also makes sure the ninth innings, and like Demi in our chat, Jamar, everyone's saying it, like it holds the umps accountable. It's the ninth inning when all the marbles are there and it's a tight game. You're seeing both teams just kind of throw a challenge out there. If it's even borderline, if they have one, might as well. Why would you go home with challenges? It definitely creates a lot of accountability, especially as the games tighten later on. And yeah, I think, it holds the umps accountable. And I know the umps have been complaining a little bit about, it's
our feelings,
the backlash. It's like, well, I'm sorry, do your job right, and there won't be backlash.
Yeah, F off umps. You can get lost. I'm ready for full robo umps for the entire game. All right, big three, number 3, quickly, Sammy.
I was going to head to the UFC. Adesanya knocked out by Joe Pyfer in the second round. At UFC Seattle was a bummer. I know you're the same way. I've always been a big Israel Adesanya fan. It just feels like we might have seen the end of him.
Yeah, I kind of am starting to feel similarly to Aaron Rodgers. It's like you've given a ton to the game, but maybe it's just time to be done. And I also think Adesanya, by the way, would be a great broadcaster.
He's fantastic.
I think he's awesome on the mic. He's funny. He has a great personality. Obviously, super, super knowledgeable about the game. I think he has a really bright future in that sense. I don't think I need to see him go into the octagon.
I hope he doesn't keep coming back because even in this fight against Pyfer,
I think like they've already kind of lowered the standard of his opponent, and he's still not winning. What is it? 5 out of 6 he's lost.
He's lost 4 straight now. Yeah, it's the problem that I hope he doesn't keep coming back is technically he had moments in that fight before Pfeiffer ended the night in the second round. He actually landed a couple big shots on Pfeiffer where it thought Adesanya was going to win. I just think he doesn't have the power anymore to keep guys off him, and that was always kind of his game, is rangy jab, working from a distance. And it just, I'm with you. I don't want to see a legend keep getting, destroyed in the ring. We want to remember him for the Pereira fights. We want to remember him for some of the wars he had. It's time to hang it up.
Listen to that dude on podcasts. He's great, man. And he thinks about the fighting game differently. And I think Adesanya would be excellent on the desk. And I hope that's the direction he goes. I really do. All right, we're going to give away some tickets right now. If you want to go see Charlie Puth, and by the way, even if you don't, I promise you the missus or the daughter in your life does want to go see Charlie Puth. April 22nd, Viejas Arena, Ticketmaster.com to buy tickets. We're going to give away a pair right now. So if you would like to go, 877-767-4760, talk to Sammy. He'll get you all set up. What number do you want to go with, Sammy?
These are hot tickets. Let's go caller 15.
Caller 15. You're going to see Charlie Puth at Viejas Arena at San Diego Sports 760. You're listening live on the iHeartRadio app. Coming up next. Yeah.
Sports sponsored by Lowe's. Padres back tonight, taking on the Giants. Are starting 1-2 through the first 3 games. That game will be at 6:40. Padres 1-2, Giants 0-3. Walker Buehler will be making his debut for the Pods, going against Landon Roop for the Giants. And the Final Four is set. We got UConn, Illinois, and Michigan, Arizona. Michigan, Arizona are the co-betting favorites to win the whole thing, while all the public money is coming in on UConn. Pros, if something runs out on the job, order it on the Lowe's app. My Lowe's Pro Rewards members get free same-day delivery on eligible orders over $25 ordered by 2 p.m. and get eligible in-stock items delivered to your job site by 8 p.m. See terms at lowes.com/shipping terms, subject to change.
San Diego Sports 760. Ben Fletcher, Sammy Long with you in the zone till 2 o'clock today. John Schaefer's going to be taking over then, kind of.
At 2.
Yeah, we'll explain more at 2 o'clock today.
Yes, John.
By the way, Sammy put up a tweet before the show that said big announcement coming at 2, big announcement coming at 3. Lots of guesses coming in. None of them are right.
Yes, text us 70470. Start your message with team. What are the big announcements?
They did such a good job of not cluing me in on anything until like the last possible moment, because I would have ruined it. So shout out to the decision makers.
Yeah, I just found out not too long ago. I
think I found out like last Monday what was going on, and this has been in the works for weeks and weeks and weeks. So shout out.
What do you think? What are the 2? We have 2. We don't have 1 announcement. We have 2 announcements.
2 announcements that are coming up. Hey,
2 o'clock, 3 o'clock.
Who just won those tickets? Sammy?
Marcos, the man, dude.
Marcos, what up? Marcos and PB.
I believe. Yeah, Marcos and PB. I believe
that's our guy. What's going on,
He's
Marcos?
The best, man.
Thank you for being here, brother. Appreciate you. Text us 70470. Start your message with team. Text line is open. YouTube chat at San Diego Sports 760 is open as well. We'd love to hear your thoughts on the first weekend of the Padres. All right, we're going to split this into 2 here. We're going to do some Padres talk in a second. We're going to start with March Madness, because really the Elite Eight, in my opinion, was a bit of a disappointment up until the very last minute. The Arizona-Purdue game I thought was going to be fantastic, and it was. For about 25 minutes, it was a really good game. I thought Purdue was going to pull the upset. But Arizona, and we saw this happen in the San Diego State game all those months ago, they have a habit of letting people hang around in the first half. And then in the second half, it's the size and the physicality.
The second half adjustments are unbelievable.
And the depth of Arizona just really shows out, especially in a tournament like this. It does set us up for Arizona and Michigan, which for my money were the 2 best teams coming into this tournament. I think it's going to be an all-time Final Four game. And as of right now, Sammy, Vegas has those 2 as the odds-on favorites to win the whole thing.
Yeah, so
they're kind of saying the Final Four game between Michigan and Arizona is the national championship.
But everyone's backing, all the public money's backing UConn, A, because they just saw what happened against Duke, and 2, a lot of people are just picking UConn to walk over Illinois, which I don't think actually is.
I don't like that at all.
Yeah, I think Illinois is a live dog. And because it makes sense, because Arizona and Michigan is such a pick'em game, people want the value of maybe having someone in the national championship game.
By the way, little story on the back burner right now when it comes to March Madness. My bracket was dead. It was toast. My bracket that is with Sammy's group of people. Is it your family? Who am I in this
family,
bracket
friends?
with?
Yeah.
Okay. So my bracket was done. But guess who has Illinois, Michigan, and Arizona all in the Final Four? This guy.
I was so excited coming on to make fun of Ben about his bracket, and I checked last night because mine got cooked. I had Florida in the national championship game against Michigan.
Basically, if Michigan wins the national championship, I take all of Sammy's family's money, which is cool.
Yeah, that's a crisp little like 260, 300 coming your way.
So, and I have pretty good odds to do so too. We'll see if Michigan
are you hedging your bet? Are you dropping a big bet on Arizona?
No, I've said Michigan since day 1, since before this tournament started. I said Michigan was going to win. Now I'll be honest, I've got lucky with Illinois making it as far as they have. I also have Illinois in the national championship.
That's the pick that's going to win it for you. Is if Illinois beats UConn.
If Illinois beats UConn, I'm cash, baby. I'm done. It's over. It's done with, because no one else has Michigan winning the national championship for some reason. I don't know why.
I do, but I'm cooked.
But you already lost. Who screwed you over?
Well, I was so mad because I'm like you. I had Illinois in the Final Four, and I was listening to these fools on CBS Sports, and I'm a massive fan of the channel, but it was late at night. And this guy convinced me. He's like, oh, no. Florida's going to the national championship game. And I flipped my bracket right before it locked.
Florida was the first one to get knocked out.
I was so mad. I was like, you know what? I'm done listening to people when it comes to me picking my bracket.
Just trust your gut, baby. That's all you got to do. All right. So the reason we get to here is, yes, Dan Hurley has done it again. So the head coach of the UConn Huskies, by the way, easily Duke UConn in the Elite Eight. Most hateable matchup of all time because everybody has a long-standing history of hating Duke. Dan Hurley within the last 10 years has become one of the most hated people in all of college basketball. So I'm watching this game and I did have the thought in my mind. I was like, man, I hope both these teams lose somehow. And Sammy said something similar. But Duke storms out to this big lead. I'm like, oh, cool. This one we can switch over to another channel. That's not how it went. UConn goes on a charge at the beginning of the second half. Really, it started at the end of the first half. And then the last 5 minutes of the game is when that game just became a classic. Like that's what it was. You could think whatever you want about UConn, think whatever you want about Duke. That game became a classic in the final 5 minutes. And then the final seconds, Braylon Mullins, what's his name? Braylon Mullins, the true freshman. True freshman steps up and hits the shot of a lifetime. Up there with Christian Laettner, up there with Lamont Butler. One of the greatest March Madness moments we've ever seen. And it was good because this March needed its moment and it got it. And it came from UConn, which is regrettable. But they got their moment, man. It was so avoidable by Duke. It was so avoidable by Duke. And the fact that it came down to that, all the mistakes that Duke made leading up to that is kind of what makes March Madness great. But man, if I'm a Duke Blue Devil fan, if I'm the Duke athletic director, I'm looking hard at the entire coaching staff today and saying, who is responsible for this meltdown? Because giving up a 19-point lead is bad enough, but the 4 points at the end of the game, I cannot, 5 points, I guess that was a 3-pointer. I cannot even begin to imagine how that just goes by the wayside.
It also just shows you the pressure from March Madness. I mean, a lot of times in the college basketball regular season, big leads, you don't see, especially if they're on a team's home floor, you don't see them come back. In the NBA, you see a lot of comebacks because sometimes of a lack of defense and just everyone can score. College basketball, depending on the program, has certain guys who can score, and it's more the complement the team. But it just goes to show in March Madness that it gets tight, and it's the whole one-off scenario where you're either going home or advancing. You could just see Duke getting tight. And if I'm a Duke Blue Devil fan, I can't believe, talked about it earlier, John Shire didn't call a timeout when Caden Boozer got the ball. I'm also surprised he wasn't calling a timeout when it was a 14-point game. Then it was a 10-point game. Then they cut it to 7, and UConn was shooting so terribly. Alex Caravan hadn't hit a 3 all game until he finally hit one there at the end. I'm curious the Final Four. It's like, because a lot has been made about, is it better for March Madness that you get blue bloods in it, or is it Cinderella stories? Because like I was going back and forth on this last night.
Well, this Final Four, we got a 2, a 3, and 2 1s. This is more par for the course.
But all blue blood programs outside of maybe Illinois,
just all power conferences. Like true blue bloods, Duke, North Carolina, Kansas, Kentucky, like they're not here. Like these are, I guess, new era blue bloods.
I mean, UConn though, Arizona's perennially there. I'm just like, I think the Final Four is going to be fantastic because Arizona, Michigan is a great game. And I think Illinois, UConn is going to be a great game, despite the fact that everyone seems to be picking UConn. I think people maybe didn't pay as much attention to Illinois down the stretch. They're more of a quiet program, but it just kind of leads back in that conversation of, and I'm curious what people think, like, is it more fun when you have a Cinderella run? Because I kept waffling back and forth. I think when your team's out, like when San Diego State's out, it is fun if you're just looking at random colleges to be pulling for a Cinderella story. I think it captivates audiences. It's like why you love fights or you love an underdog story in any sport. It's something you can get behind, even if it's not your team. Or do people like seeing the best, quote, matchups of the best teams that's stockpiled with NBA talent?
As a college basketball fan, I've been looking forward to a Michigan-Arizona meeting in March Madness literally all year long. I think that these have been the 2 best, most consistent teams in college basketball throughout the season. I was hoping they'd be on opposite sides of the bracket so we could see that as a national championship game. But I think that's going to be it's an all-timer for a Final Four game. I don't imagine this game is decided by less than or more than 5 points at the end of it. That feels right to me. And I think it's strength on strength. This is physicality, rebounding, defense, great guard play with Arizona, good guard play with Michigan, excellent front court with Michigan. Like, we are going to get an all-time Final Four matchup. And there's no way you can paint this out as this March Madness tournament being bad to me. Outside of lopsided results in the Elite Eight, other than that, this has been a great tournament.
I just wonder if it's forever changed, because like High Point was until it isn't, but NIL is now new.
For sure. And there's going to be program systems that figure out ways around NIL. And there's going to be better grassroots movements. Like, of course, the rich is going to get richer at the beginning. Wait till everybody else figures out a way to combat it.
But it's also
going to happen.
But it's even like in the Sweet 16, the lowest NIL budget was the Iowa Hawkeyes with $6.2 million.
Right.
And that's still $6.2 million. That's not nothing to snuff at. I'm just curious if in the future, if we are just going to see less upsets in general, because even if we do get an upset, like we saw in the first round, we saw Texas, VCU, but then again, it's hard to call. Texas isn't a Cinderella story. No. Texas playing the SEC.
They were just an 11 seed.
High Point is the only team that is, quote, a Cinderella, and they got beaten in the second round. Whereas I feel like this really helps college football, the diversity of talent. It does feel like in college basketball, we might be seeing the end of the Cinderella runs.
Maybe. I do think that there's time for programs to adjust, and there's a lot of great college basketball coaches. Not all of them are just in the power conferences. I think we will see a bit of a resurgence in years to come. All right, speaking of which, you will hear the entirety of the Final Four here on San Diego Sports 760. That's Saturday, starting at noon o'clock. We'll have the pregame show, and then, of course, the Final Four coverage from Westwood One will begin at 1 o'clock. Tonight, tomorrow, and Thursday, we got Lakers basketball on the air here tonight. Wizards, Lakers. I'm sure that's going to make an appearance on Long Shots coming up in just a few minutes. Wizards at
the Wizards
Lakers.
might be the worst basketball team I've ever seen in my life.
Tonight at 6:45. Yeah, who's dropping 80 for the Lakers?
Well, the Lakers, Luka's suspended for this game,
right?
And they're favored by 16.5. That just tells you something.
It's going to be good. All right, so we'll get to Long Shots on the other side. I did want to make one more point on that Duke game, and sorry we didn't get to Padres here. We will in hour number 2. Somebody DM'd me this last night. It was a video of John Shire showing the entire Duke Blue Devils team about a month ago, a play in a Chicago Bulls game where in the final 2 seconds of the game, a player for the Bulls chucked the ball up into the air to let time expire because he was kind of falling out of bounds. And it's just so ironic that probably could have saved them last night. That if at midcourt, instead of trying to force a pass through 2 UConn players, the player could have literally, there was, I think, 6.8 seconds on the clock when this happened, could have chuck the ball as high as he could in the air to the other side of the court, let it fall down. And then if UConn makes a full quarter, UConn makes a full quarter, but that would have ended the game.
It's like the vintage why Kentucky struggled in the tournament. When you're loaded with true freshmen who are all going to the NBA, you have all the talent in the world and you're more talented than 95% of the teams in the tournament. But at the moments like that, when you haven't been there before. So Caden Boozer, tenses up and doesn't know what to do. I really put it more on John Shire.
So do I. Timeout should have been called, and you could have discussed that, by the way. You could have easily, if you would have called the timeout at, say, 9 seconds left when the first trap happened.
You would have got the ball at midcourt, and you could have ran an entire play using both ends of the floor. It made no sense from
You
John
probably would have
Shire.
gotten fouled, go in the game at the free throw line. That would have worked too. All right, we're going to take a quick break here. Long Shots on the other side. I'm guessing based on our open from today, weekend Long Shots didn't go great.
Weekend Long Shots, we had a blip on the we had been winning at a good clip recently. The weekend was not kind to us.
Back to our winning ways coming up next. It's San Diego Sports 760. You're listening live on the iHeartRadio app. San Diego Sports 760. It's the zone. Ben Fletcher, Sammy Long with you till 2 o'clock. Something is happening at 2 o'clock. Just stay tuned for that.
Something is happening.
To dispel some of the rumors on the text line, I could tell you this first and foremost. It has nothing to do with me. I will be
nothing to do with you.
Walking my happy ass out these doors right at 2 o'clock every single day. I can promise you that.
Well, we have something to tell you, Ben.
Did I see that Jim Russell tried to ruin everything last night on the wrap-up show?
Jim...
So he doesn't even work here anymore, and he goes YouTube Live with John Schaefer and tries to ruin everything.
He gave a at the end. John teased like, "Hey, we have a big announcement at 2 and 3," and then Jim decides to give a hint. And the best, if you go back and watch it, you can see John's face like what is this going to be? Like they obviously did not talk about that there was going to be a hint. And Jim gave a hint. You can go look at the wrap-up show.
Jim is
at the end for a hint on an announcement today.
Yeah, well, we love Jim Russell. I watched the first couple of wrap-up shows of this year. It was nice seeing those guys doing the wrap-up.
Oh yeah, we love Jim.
Somehow I actually miss Jim Russell, which are words I never thought I would utter in my life.
Jim will be back. Jim will make some guest appearances on the station here soon.
No spoilers, Sammy. We're doing a good enough job. Telling you, no one should have ever told me what was going on. It should have just been a beautiful surprise to me.
We're doing good, right? It's what is it? 12:50. We only have an hour and 10 to keep a secret, and then
another hour to keep another
hour to keep another. So we have 2 hours and 10 minutes to keep one secret, an hour and 10 minutes to keep one secret.
All right. Well, why don't we do this while we're all waiting with bated breath and excitement and just nerves about what's going on? Let's make some money
for the
people of San Diego. Go ahead, Sammy. Smash it.
You looking for some luck? Want to win big? Gotta play big.
You are so money, and you don't even know it.
Time to take a chance.
Say that to me and his man.
With long shots.
We actually got a couple guesses on the text line that are pretty good. Not bad.
We have some good guesses coming.
Maybe someone did ruin something. All right. We won't read those. It's San Diego Sports 760. This is the time of day where Sammy Long builds out a little parlay or a little combination that you can use on one of those apps. I will just be very forefront and honest. The app I use is legal in all 50 states, and it's trading. It's not betting. So get that word out of your head, you filthy scoundrels. I think they spend money on the station, so
yeah, they do spend money. Kalshi spends money on the station.
Kalshi, it's a cool app. I like it.
Yeah.
And Kalshi, if you want a segment or a show to endorse,
right here,
feels like we're your guys.
Yeah, come on.
All right, Shammy, where do you want to go today?
All right, so a couple NBA picks.
Baseball in our lives.
We do have a baseball pick. Actually, we're gonna go to baseball at the end. Start with the NBA. We have 2 NBA picks tonight. So we're going 76ers Heat. This game is on Peacock on 4 o'clock. Fun game between these two teams. So this game really matters between these two. They're jostling. Currently, the Sixers are the first team in the play-in, and then the Heat are the third team in the play-in. So the Heat are trying to make sure they don't fall below the surging Charlotte Hornets, so they at least get to host a play-in game. And Miami is currently 2 games up on them, so they both need this game badly. Now, the Sixers have one of the best offenses in the league and one of the worst defenses in the league. That's their problem, because on paper, Philly, I think it actually, and still might, give some headaches to teams at the top. I'm not saying in the Eastern Conference they're going to beat a Boston or Detroit or a team like that, but they certainly have the capability to win a couple games. Tyrese Maxey, VJ Edgecombe has been a fantastic rookie this year. Trendon Watford has developed, and Joel Embiid, Kelly Oubre. I mean, this team is always about every year, can they stay healthy? And the Miami Heat is a team who's been there before. Miami is a little bit more limited, I think, than the Sixers are, but they have a lot of talented players. Norman Powell, Tyler Herro, of course, Bam Adebayo. But I like us going counteract to what I just said, the under 244.5. This is a huge line for the game because of the fact that the Sixers are all gas and no defense. But because this is kind of a quasi playoff game, 2 to 3 weeks before the playoffs start.
Oh, this is when the NBA starts to play defense again.
This is when they start to play defense.
Here we go.
So this is why we'll see when the playoffs start.
We got a little window here, Sammy. This is a window of betting unders.
This is a window of betting unders. When you look at the potential matchups that have stuff on the line, this is a super inflated line at 244.5. Give us the under, although there's elite scores on both ends of the floor. Bam Adebayo and Joel Embiid should be able to go back and forth with each other. Also, no Norman Powell tonight, which means the Heat are missing one of their premier scorers. I like the under Philly and Miami tonight at 4 o'clock.
All right.
Celtics Hawks. Now, I bet this game over the weekend did not come out for us. Atlanta fought up a good fight. I believe the spread was 4.5, 5.5. They ended up losing by 7. Give me Atlanta tonight again, though. They are playing the Celtics now again this week. Jason Tatum is missing this game, so Atlanta is actually a favorite tonight, -2.5. Now, the Celtics have played really well without Jason Tatum, but no Jason Tatum. Neemias Queta is questionable tonight. Game time decision. Derek White is questionable as a game time decision, as well as Nikola Vucevic for the Celtics is out for this game. So Atlanta has really been one of the surging teams in the NBA recently, playing some good basketball. They played the Celtics well. They're just the closers of Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown last week were able to outlast them. But the Celtics coming off some massive wins. They beat the Hawks last week. They beat the Thunder. So people are really starting to talk about the Celtics as potentially winning the NBA championship. I think this is a little bit of an off night for them. Give me the Hawks -2.5 at home. All right, now let's go to some baseball. Tigers, Diamondbacks. Give me the D-backs -118 on the money line. Now, I know they got swept over the weekend by the Dodgers, but it's the Dodgers. And the dirty secret is in all 3 of those games, they had leads in all those games. Geraldo Perdomo, it looks like he is poised for a massive breakout. Kind of broke out last year with the Diamondbacks, but this year really looks like so far through the first three games, he's swinging the bat well. Marte, Corbin Carroll. Look, I know the Tigers were good over the weekend, but just because Justin Verlander is out there, this isn't the same Justin Verlander that used to be there. There's a reason why he's the 4th starter in the Tigers rotation, because of Skubal, because of Valdez, and because of Flaherty. I like the Diamondbacks with Michael Soroka, who had a decent season last year, to get a win for the Snakes out there in Arizona and get their first win of the year. All right, so we like Diamondbacks on the money line. They're going to get their first win of the season. I like the Atlanta Hawks to cover the spread, -2.5 in the ATL, and give me the under Miami Philly under 244.5. Way too inflated of a line for 2 teams that really need this game badly tonight.
I love it. You know how much I love it, Sammy? That's a unit and a half.
Unit and a half. We earned that extra half.
You earned the extra half. I really like the picks. I do. I think that the Detroit Tigers, by the way, I do think fall off a cliff after their 3rd starter. And I think that's how they're going to go most of the season.
And it's the name brand of Verlander, which is why there's some betting action coming out on Detroit. The Diamondbacks are much better than an 0-3 record.
Was there anything offensively from the Tigers that blew you away? Outside of the fact that, like, Pivetta really struggled to just find the strike zone. Outside of that, like, other than their rookie, McKinney or whatever his name is.
Yeah, McGonigal.
Nothing really blew me away with Detroit's offense, but that top 3 starting rotation, filthy.
I think the Padres and Diamondbacks are going to be just fine. The Giants, I don't want to eat words. The Giants,
some like mid-season firings with the Giants,
are another story. This is what happens when you make a college coach a major league manager.
And he's a weirdo too, man. We started to see his personality a little bit over the first week or so, like the last week of spring training into this week. I don't know. He's a weirdo. Buster Posey, great catcher. I don't know if he knows what he's doing as a GM yet.
Yeah.
Mid-season firings might be happening with the Giants. All right, San Diego Sports 760. Hour number 2 is coming up next. We got special guest Matt from the DSG, Divine Sports
Matt
Gospel.
Divine
is going to be joining us coming up at 1:30. Don't go anywhere at San Diego Sports 760 live on the iHeartRadio app.
The sport is sponsored by Unbound.org. Padres back tonight, currently -120 on the money line. That game gets going at 6:40. Landon Root going for the Giants, who started off the season 0-3 against the Yankees, and Walker Buehler will be making his debut for the Padres. And John Harbaugh said today at the NFL's owner meetings, he's open to bringing back Odell Beckham Jr. to the New York Giants
as a water boy.
Age 33 veteran wide receiver. Right now, there are young people across the world facing a tough choice: continue their dream of education or drop out to help their family put food on the table. You can help change their future in a single moment. See how far your support can go at unbound.org.
I'm Ben Fletcher. That's Sammy Long.
Well, we know that, but it's a little different now. More on that later. Meanwhile, the Final Four is set.
Arizona returns to the Final Four with a 15-point win over Purdue.
The Wolverines are on their way to their 9th Final Four.
Oh, the bracket wreckage.
The Fighting Illini, they are headed to the Final Four.
Got a steal for Mullins. Long three. He got it. Oh, he got it with 3/10 of a second left to go. UConn has taken the lead. UConn wins it 73-72. The UConn Huskies are going back to the Final Four.
And the Padres with an up-and-down weekend.
Line to right field, in for a big hit for Fernando. Here comes Sermine around. The throw will be cut off. Padres are on the board.
Tonight, it's the Giants at Petco. Plus,
I like the Atlanta Hawks +4.5 against Boston.
Are you sure about that?
Pandora and Thurman going the distance.
Oh, God, that's funny.
I got Israel Adesanya -135 on the money line. That's exactly right. And I like Michigan State to pull the upset against UConn.
Wow, that's terrible.
now, from the San Diego Sports 760 studios, we go in the zone with Fletch and Sammy.
Hour number 2 here on The Zone. Ben Fletcher, Sammy Long with you till 2 o'clock today. Something is happening at 2 o'clock. Man, I got one more day of it not being able to say what it is, and then I'll start saying the thing. You know, coming up at 2 o'clock is this. And that'll be a lot of fun. But we're going to save the announcement for right at 2 o'clock, so make sure you are listening. It is San Diego Sports 760. We'll have a couple of changes coming your way over the next 5 or 6 hours. So make sure you stay tuned for all of them. I know Shafee is going to have some tickets to give away as well over the next couple hours. He's got tickets to Sesame Place. I believe it's a 4-pack of tickets to go out and see Sesame Place out in East County. It's a very, very cool spot, especially if you have kiddos. We also have the Lakers tonight playing against the Wizards. If there was one layup, Sammy, I wouldn't have been mad at you including them on this, although there's no value in taking the Lakers in long shots today.
None. Well, the spread 16.5. The Lakers messed around with the Nets on Friday night, almost lost, but then with the final 5 minutes of the game, they ended up covering a 15.5 point spread in the span of about 2 minutes.
I can already kind of see the headlines tomorrow of LeBron drops 50.
Yeah.
Is this the final time he'll play against the Washington Wizards?
Yeah. This is my hope for the Lakers tonight. They blow them out in the first half instead of, because tomorrow they got the Cavs. That's a real matchup.
Yeah.
That's a big time matchup.
Game you'll also hear here on 760.
Yeah, the Wizards. That this is just a little speed bump in the road for the Lake Show.
Well, good luck to the Lakers tonight. I hope they lose. It is San Diego Sports 760. We'll talk some Padres here. We got actually some great NFL quotes that I want to hit, so we'll do that in about 10 minutes. And then DSG, Matt from Divine Sports Gospel, is going to be jumping on at 1:30 to react to the first weekend of Padres baseball in the books. But right now, I do want to talk about Padres versus Giants, because now, like, the Tigers are in the rearview mirror. And the Tigers, the 3 starters they have, Framber Valdez, Tariq Skubal, obviously, and Jack Flaherty, it's a fantastic 1-2-3. And I think the Padres lineup really struggled with it. Well, now you get the Giants' best in Logan Webb. He's game 2, right? He's tomorrow for the Giants. I think I have that right. Logan Webb.
I believe
tomorrow.
so. I'll check.
I'm pretty 99% sure I have that right. But I think we learn a lot about the Padres here, because this is the bottom of that rotation. So you got Buehler going tonight, and then German Marquez going tomorrow. Those were the 2 biggest question marks coming into the season, was what are they going to look like? Can Buehler find anything? Does he have anything left as a Major League Baseball pitcher? And can German Marquez bounce back after a really, really rough year? So those are 2 huge questions for the Padres. I would also say this. Yes, Logan Webb is going tomorrow. What does the Padres offense have in the other 2 games? Like, you can accept maybe six innings of not scoring anything off of Logan Webb. He's one of the best pitchers in the country. But for the other 2 games, can this offense that we talked about coming into the season as not a problem, step up and get hits with runners in scoring position. God forbid, can there be a little power out of the Padres?
And I know what you're trying to say. I'm not coming at you, but why is that the expectation that because there's a good pitcher on the mound, the Padres shouldn't hit?
For sure, and I get that, but I'm just like over the course of a season, you're gonna run into guys like Logan Webb or Paul Skeens who have a great game, and the offense, no matter who they're playing against, just isn't going to be able to do anything. But for the most part, you're right, and it's like who are you going to be facing in the postseason? Probably guys like that. You got to find ways to score runs against them too. But in games like today, where the Padres offense should be a big plus, is it too much to ask for a couple home runs?
And especially playing at home. I mean, this is Petco is a massive home field advantage. It's one of the best, if not the best, in Major League Baseball. And we obviously take a look at the weekend 1 and 2, and people already throwing up standings and things like that. Don't worry about the Dodgers. Dodgers 3-0.
2 games in front, Sammy.
They're unbelievable. Like it's there's nothing to say about them. They were losing in all 3 games against the Diamondbacks, and they came back every time. I mean, so the Dodgers should not even be on the radar. You should be looking at the Diamondbacks and the Giants. And currently, the Padres are up on them because they won a game. And
hell yeah, brother!
The Diamondbacks and
how is it down there at 0-3, losers?
Yeah, exactly.
Down with the Rockies.
But I mean, this is also an interesting matchup in terms of Craig Stammen. And what are you going to do against a rookie manager? Because he's a rookie manager, and Craig Stammen has had a fine grade over the weekend. There's not really anything I think I could point to why I'm going to come on here and bash Craig Stammen
outside of the lineup on day 1, but whatever.
Lineup on day 1 was a little curious, not having Nick Castellanos in there, but like this is kind of for being the second series they're going to play. The Padres open up. They open up with the Tigers, the Giants, these 3 games. Then you got the Red Sox. There is some legit competition the first couple weeks of the season. So whereas it is early, I'm not going to overreact to anything. This is kind of an important series in the sense of you're 1 and 2. The last thing you want to do is give the Giants momentum and lose a series at home. And then you're taking the show on the road, facing some pretty good teams over the next week or two. Ben, to your point, at the end of the day, these guys got to hit. Ramon Laureano seems to be the only guy hitting right now. We've talked about this team will go as far as Fernando Tatis takes them in terms of can he get back to NL MVP status. Machado, guys like this, it's kind of on their shoulders. Like at some point, they just got to hit the baseball no matter who's on the mound for the other team.
You're absolutely right, man. And by the way, like Laureano's getting a lot of credit, and he should. He was the most consistent Padre, but the one home run that got hit was in garbage time against the Tigers. Like it didn't even really matter. But Xander Bogaerts and Ramon Laureano have been the offense so far for the Padres, and you're just not going to get to where you want to go if that's the case. You're going to need guys like Fernando Tatis Jr., who has 2 hits through the first 3 games. Manny Machado has 2 hits through the first 3 games. Jackson Merrill, same thing. Like those are the guys who you're going to need to do something. And at least so far through 3, if we want to overreact, they haven't. So that's just where you're at with the Padres so far. Let's get to the big 3 here. I do want to talk some NFL on the other side of the big 3. We got some great quotes coming about some of the international games that are scheduled for this year that we'll hit in just a bit. But Sammy, go ahead. Big 3 time. Smash it.
Your lunch break is here. Ready to go back to the office and knock the socks off your friends? I mean, coworkers? It's time for the top stories of the day. The Big 3.
Yes, we should give Jackson Merrill credit for that play he made in center field.
That was unbelievable.
Awesome moment. And Jackson Merrill's a great center fielder. You also need him to be great with the bat. Sammy, where are we going?
Side of the NFL, National Football League. You know what I love about the NFL is if you look on the top stories of ESPN, this is literally the owners meeting. They have the top 7 stories, and it's literally the offseason.
They're great at this. Man, this is so great. Like last week, you had the story come out like the tush push isn't even going to be involved in the owner meetings. I'm like, how can it not be involved in the owner meetings? It was 2 votes away from being banned a year ago. But the NFL just keeps on chugging.
They know how to do it year round, man. But all right, so it wouldn't be a show if we didn't at least mention the Dallas Cowboys. Dallas Cowboys are unsure. Brian Schottenheimer, the head coach, unsure if star wide receiver George Pickens will attend the offseason program. Still looking for that contract. He's currently on the tag right now.
That's what I was going to say. He is under contract. He's under a franchise tag.
On the tag. If you're the Dallas Cowboys, would you write a blank check for George Pickens? Because it feels like every year with the Dallas Cowboys, whether it was Dak Prescott, whether it was CeeDee Lamb, Michael Parsons, and now George Pickens, every year the Cowboys have a player that eats up offseason headlines because Jerry doesn't want to give a contract out.
All right. I'm pretty sure I have this right. George Pickens can still technically sign with another team. because he's not under the exclusive franchise tag.
Yes, but you have to give up 2 first-round picks, and no one's going to do that.
Right.
That's happened like once before.
If I am the Cowboys, I'm seeing how this year goes with George Pickens. I think it's the right thing to do to franchise tag him. And, if he wants to be a diva, which he probably will, he probably won't show up to OTAs. He probably won't show up to the majority of training camp, because that's kind of what wide receivers do, especially wide receivers who don't have a locked-in contract for the next few years. If I am the Cowboys, I'm not opposed to, at the end or maybe even halfway through this season, signing an extension with George Pickens. But right now, you've had 1 year of solid, good teammate George Pickens, and then the rest of his career to look at as to why it would be a mistake to lock him up in a 4-year deal. So I'm seeing how the beginning of this season goes. I'm seeing if there's some replication of what happened a year ago, because he did look great with Dak Prescott, and it looked like the most productive we've ever seen George Pickens. But given the fact that he's a wide receiver, given the fact that he's shown diva behavior in the past, I'm not just signing him to a 4-year deal right now. I'm waiting and seeing if he's continuing to be productive.
Yes, it's like,
and that comes with risk, by the way. He may not play.
But Dallas is Jerry Jones is finally doing the right thing. What we've seen the last couple of years. He is not just star hunting. You trade Micah Parsons. It's easy to bash Jerry Jones in the media. How could you trade a generational pass rusher? And today, you could argue the Cowboys might be in a better place than the Packers. Now, no one could have known he could have got injured, Micah Parsons, but still. You don't give up the 2 first-round picks for Max Crosby. The Ravens end up biting for that, and then obviously the trade gets rescinded. But we also haven't seen the Cowboys rush out and then go try to get Max Crosby because they were in the running. George Pickens has been a diva his whole career. When it doesn't work with Mike Tomlin, and Mike Tomlin's one of the most respected head coaches that we've seen in a long time in this league, they're telling you something. Now, he played well last year, but he also was playing in a contract year and probably knew to shut his mouth and be like, hey, if you want to get dollars, if you can't cut it in Pittsburgh, you have to cut it in Dallas. You have a big-time quarterback in Dak Prescott. You're already paying CeeDee Lamb. Look at what's happened to Cincinnati Bengals when they pay Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, and T. Higgins. It doesn't work out paying 2 receivers. Ryan Flournoy is a guy who almost had 500 receiving yards last year for them, could potentially break out at receiver. If I'm the Cowboys, I'm drafting somebody and hoping he plays on the tag. All right, let's head to the NBA.
You ever watch George Pickens college highlights when he was at Georgia?
Unbelievable.
It's if you want a good YouTube search today, George Pickens college highlight reel.
If he didn't have off the field concerns, he would have been a first-round pick.
Yeah, I'd agree.
All right, so the Knicks lose to the Thunder last night, but the story after the game feels like a story every time there's a primetime game that Oklahoma City plays in. Mike Brown, the head coach of the New York Knicks, talking about the officiating of the Oklahoma City Thunder, said, quote, they shot 38 free throws. Were all of them legit? Question mark. I don't know. Their gamesmanship is off the charts. Now, a lot has been made about Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, quote, being a free throw merchant, a foul merchant in Oklahoma City, getting some favorable officiating. Do you think Mike Brown has a point, or is this just kind of a case of sore grapes?
No, he for sure has a point, and I think that's true of Shai Gilgeous-Alexander in the regular season. Now, I would slam him for that in the regular season, but the biggest argument against the free throw merchant or the foul merchant, which James Harden absolutely was at times, and I think Shai Gilgeous may be now, it usually doesn't work in the postseason. Shai has already proven that to not be true. He won the NBA championship last year. He was the best player on the court when Tyrese Halliburton wasn't hurt. So I look at Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and I'm like, yeah, if you want to fight your way through a regular season like that, it's not going to work in the postseason. Well, it already has worked in the postseason for him. And he was undoubtedly, in my opinion, the best player on the court in the entire postseason. In fact, he made NBA basketball pretty fun last year in the postseason. So I would back off Shai if I was the other head coaches and try to find someone who's going to be like Shai, because he is the future at this point.
It is. I think people have a misguided thing of Shai's game. Shai is not really a 3-point shooter. He can hit threes, but that's not what makes him special. He's an excellent mid-range game. That is what has made him an absolute superstar, and it's part of the game. And this happens in every sport. I mean, the NBA is certainly because stars get calls. It's just how it is. NFL quarterbacks get calls. It's
NFL wide receivers,
star receivers get calls. This is part of the game, and you're on the lookout for the biggest stars in basketball. I do think, yeah, is 38 free throws high, but that's also the Oklahoma City Thunder's game. And to the point you made, it's like you got to find a way to beat that. And no, the NBA is not rigging games for the Oklahoma City Thunder. The last team they would ever rig a game for is Oklahoma City of all places. But it's like The Knicks are getting punked when they play teams that play excellent defense. They're 0-5 this year against the Thunder and the Pistons combined. 2 top seeds in both conferences. I think Mike Brown needs to take a look back at his own team a little bit and how Alex Caruso was able to guard Karl-Anthony Towns so effectively last night versus calling out Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, who's one of the best players in the league.
Dude, Shai's a hooper. If you're not watching much basketball these days, I understand it, but watching Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, he's fun, man. He's so talented. You got one more for us, Sammy?
I do. All right, UConn, if they do win the national championship, this would be 3 of 4 championships, 3 years, out of 4 years, 3 championships. Where would this stack in dynasties, period? Not just in college basketball. Where would this stack in dynasties overall over the last, 40 years?
I mean, pretty incredibly. Like, I can't stand Dan Hurley, and I know I'm not alone in that sentiment, but the dude is a hell of a college basketball coach. And you watch him on the sideline and everything he does, he's taking a lot of heat off of Mark Few with Gonzaga for me, because Mark Few used to be my most hated coach, and Dan Hurley has just skyrocketed to the top of that ranking. But you watch him yesterday, and Braylon Mullins hits that final shot, and he celebrates for a second, and it's cool, and it looks fun, and Dan Hurley is like, you can tell he's really happy for his team. But then the first thing he does is turn around and go find an official and just gets right in his face. Just be happy with the win. Dude, Dan Hurley, you have literally been there more than anybody recently, and you still can't act like you've been there before. But yeah, it's great. It's one of the all-timers in March Madness history, what Dan Hurley has been able to do at UConn. It just sucks that it's
the same
him.
way. I can't stand UConn. I can't stand Dan Hurley. I mean, he's not a very likable person if you're not a UConn fan, but to be honest about him, it would be an all-time great dynasty. I'm not going to put it up there number 1. I mean, the Bulls, the Lakers, the Patriots.
How about UConn winning?
Warriors? Right. I mean, you get in the same thing, but it is in March Madness to win 3 of 4 years. If it happens,
it's not going to happen. Illinois beat.
I don't think it's going to happen either. But the fact that it is single elimination, the roster's ever changing. The first 2 years you did at a core group of Stephon Castle, Klingon. I mean, you have some NBA stars that were playing on that team. But if he were to do it a couple years later, it certainly would be one of college basketball's great dynasties.
Man, I'm really sorry he's not the Lakers head coach, Sammy.
Thank God,
thought
dude.
You guys had that figured out.
Thank God.
Was it a 10-year deal that they were offering him? I can't remember what it was.
Yeah, he was leveraging the Lakers. It was
outrageous.
something crazy.
And he was the one who backed out on it.
Yeah,
he's a
he didn't,
weird guy.
He didn't want the scrutiny of playing in Los Angeles. He can forever play the UConn head coach, never win again, and he'll always be a legend there.
All right, coming up next, let's get to some NFL, because there were some strong quotes out of Kyle Shanahan talking about the international games. Who do these actually benefit? Let's get into it on the other side. It's San Diego Sports 760. You're listening live on the iHeartRadio app. Matt from Divine Sports Gospel is going to be joining us coming up in about 8 minutes, talk about the Padres opening weekend. But as we sit right now, the NFL owners meetings are happening and we're getting ready for a new season of NFL football coming up. And oh my goodness, just like 8 short months away. We needed to hustle up a little bit.
I need the draft to get here immediately.
Wait, not that long, right? It's almost April.
Well, the end of July, they get to camp, and that's all I need.
Yeah, just get us
Once
to
we get to camp, we're good.
But as we kind of get ready for it, there's a lot to be discussed right now, including the fact that there's more international games this year than ever. So, in fact, the San Francisco 49ers are going to be the first team to ever play in 2 separate countries that aren't both European. I think Jacksonville's done it with both games in England and London. But the 49ers have 1 game in Australia, which is the first ever Australia game for the NFL, and 1 game in Mexico City. So they're playing both of those this year. The 49ers will set a record this year for the most miles ever traveled in a single season. That's right. I'm getting all my excuses ready early and often for this year. But I respect a lot of what Kyle Shanahan said today. I don't know how much of this you saw, Sammy, but Shanahan was super sarcastic and kind of accusatory of the NFL, saying there's no benefit for us to go play this game in Australia. I don't really get the point of it. And there's going to be 9 different games in international territory this year, and you're just racking up the miles that NFL players are going to have to travel. And by the way, in the early portion of the season, you don't even get the benefit of having a bye week after the fact. So for the 49ers and the Rams, they're both kind of getting screwed by having this first game of the season out in Australia, which is the furthest ever for an NFL game. And both of these are West Coast teams traveling literally across the country to make this happen. So I respect that Kyle Shanahan didn't just do the good NFL coach thing and say, oh, it's so great that we're growing the game and we're going overseas. And that's awesome for fans, both internationally and abroad. No, he was like, there's no benefit for us to be doing this. We're just being forced to do this.
I was kind of surprised he went at the NFL, though, because it really does come down to the owners. The owners of the team get to accept that they want to give up a home game. Now, in terms of the Rams one, because the Rams are the home team, they're forced to go there. The Niners could choose to not give up a home game when it's presented, but you know the owners and don't always have the best interest of the team. They have the best interest of the team in terms of business ventures and the fact that playing in another country is good for jersey sales, good for revenue, TV deals, things are not TV deals. The NFL has its own, but expanding the reach of the brand. So yeah, if I was a Niners fan, I would be like 2 different trips. Now I guess the Australia trip week 1 gives you a little that you can get there as.
It's just being played on a Thursday, but they're planning on going out like a week before.
Right. So you don't really have the whole, it's a short week because we had to leave after a game. But yeah, the game's just expanding left and right. How long before we get a London team?
I mean, it's so curious about it.
It's coming, right?
I'm curious whether it's a London team first or a Mexico City team first. Those are the 2 places that really we've been dropping or been given seeds over the last few years. But I do think it's coming. I just don't know when. And I also think with the NBA expanding this year, we're not that far off from the NFL expanding also.
You feel like it would almost be easier for the NFL to wait and just launch an NFL division that is 100% European, where those teams, 4 teams, play each other for the first half of the season. So you're not having to travel back and forth because that's going to lead to some favorable betting lines for the home teams.
I don't know. Here's what Shanahan said. I was so fired up. That was our goal, to go 19 hours away and play a game. Very sarcastically, by the way, he said all that. So look, I'm glad at least someone's standing up, because when you think about who this actually benefits, the answer is nobody except the NFL itself and the owners. But you think about it, it doesn't really benefit fans here in the homeland in the United States. Like, it's not really going to change anything for us. We're going to be watching these games either way. It doesn't benefit the players whatsoever. In fact, it's the polar opposite. It's more dangerous to go play overseas. It's worse on your body in terms of rest and recovery. Everything about it is worse for players. And if you're the Rams, you're giving up a home game for this. Not that the Rams home game against the Niners ever really feel like a home game for the Rams.
Well, I get why the Chargers or Jacksonville would do this, because they're trying to get fans. But yeah, I'm surprised that the Niners would, a established fan base in the league. It's not like the Niners
are technically the host of that game down in Mexico City. They're already doing a bunch of promo for it. So we'll see how it goes. I think the window for international games might actually be closing, even though it feels like it's opening more. Once you start to get coaches and players really speaking out against them, you could see it swing back the other direction. All right, we got Matt from Divine Sports Gospel coming up next. Excited to chat with Matt. It'll be his second time on the show. We'll react to Padres opening weekend with DSG coming up next.
The sport's sponsored by Wendy's new Biggie Deals. Padres back tonight after going 1-2 over the weekend against the Detroit Tigers, taking on the Giants, who are bringing a record of 0-3. Lena Roop be going for the Giants, and Walker Buehler will be making his season and team debut for the Padres. That game is at 6:40. 40, and the Cowboys are unsure, per Brian Schottenheimer, if star wide receiver George Pickens will attend the offseason workouts. He is currently playing on the franchise tag. Choose one of Wendy's new biggie deals at $4, $6, and $8. Pick one of the new biggie deals you're craving. For a pretty biggie deal, got to be Wendy's. U.S. price participation may vary.
San Diego Sports 760. We got Lakers and Wizards tonight. Right here on 760. You can listen to the game live right after John Schaefer gets off the air. All right, we got big announcements coming up at 2 and 3 o'clock, so make sure you don't go anywhere. Listen, we're 30 minutes away from the first one. But right now, we are going to bring on a new friend of the show. We had him on a couple weeks ago, bringing him back here today. Matt from DSG. Yeah. Find him online at Divine Sports Gospel. The Padres Collective with John Schaefer and Kevin Acey and Matt from Divine Sports Gospel. What's up, Matt? How are you?
What's up, fellas? How we doing? I'm doing great. I appreciate you asking. I'm back east, had a little family situation, so I'm in Philadelphia, but going to the Phillies game tonight. So I haven't been to a Padres game yet this season, but I have been to a Giants and a Phillies game. So I need to get down to Petco Park as soon as possible, it seems like.
You're leaving out the best ballpark of them all right here in San Diego. So, Matt, weekend 1 in the books. By the way, since you're in Philadelphia, you can go punch Jim Russell in the face if you would like to.
Oh, of course. I meant to hit up Jim. I gotta send him a message.
That is a possibility for you, which I wish it was a possibility for me. But Matt, as we kind of look at the first weekend of Padres baseball here in the books, what were your overall thoughts? 1-2 against the Tigers. Offense a little disappointing. Starting pitching questionable. A bunch of things that we thought might happen all happened. But what did you think coming off the first few games?
Yeah, man. Overall, first series in the books. Pivetta had a tough start, but he didn't give up a lot of hard contact. It was mostly walks that really kind of did him in. You leave base runners on, or you give them free base runners. Good teams are going to punish you. Same thing happened on Saturday night. Probably should have won that game Saturday night. If you give this bullpen a lead like that, majority of the time, I think they're going to close that lead out. Jerry had a tough go of it. 3 straight walks, ended up biting us in the butt a little bit. Kevin McGognall or whatever his name is, seems like he's an AL Rookie of the Year front runner. That guy was awesome. Big win Sunday to avoid the sweep. I always think, guys, we have a lot of these series, right? There's 52 or something series a year. Avoid sweeps. Try to win a couple. Try to get a couple sweeps in. It's what's going to happen. The Tigers are a good team. We faced 2 really tough lefties in Skubal and Valdez. Faced a pitcher in Flaherty who I think we're better than, and we beat him, which is great. So I was very excited about that. Lot to look forward to. I thought Kyle Hart was amazing on Sunday. That was great to see. I thought Ramon Laureano had a great series at the plate. So overall, there's a lot of stuff that I was, excited to see. It's early, man. We're going to see, right? This is just such a long season, and I think it's very easy, myself included, to live and die by each game. But we really just need to see. Craig Stammen's a brand new manager. He's figuring out what his managing type's going to be. We're figuring out who's going to be pitching in, the 7th and 8th innings, especially with Jason Adam coming back, the emergence of Bradley Rodriguez. So we have a lot of things to learn. And I think these first couple months are going to be a very big learning experience for Craig and the fan base.
Matt, what do you think about, I'm totally with you that it's, 3 games and you can overreact one way or the other, but what do you think about the 7 runs over 3 games? Like it does, the fact that the Padres didn't hit for power last year, I believe they were 28th in the league. Is that kind of a concern, or you think this is just little early season jitters?
Yeah, no, definitely a concern. When you have a historically, I wouldn't say historically, but a really bad power offense last year, right? Like they could not slug at all. And then the first series of the year, they hit 1 home run. That's not what you necessarily want to see. That being said, like I mentioned before, you face Skubal and you face Valdez. Those are really good pitchers. I would say they're probably 2 of the best pitchers in the American League. It happens, right? And I think with this team, I think it was game 2, or maybe it might have been game 1. Castellanos was up with the bases loaded, gave it a rip. There's a lot of things that happen one way or the other. I like to try to give, a month to kind of really judge where the team's at when it comes to slug, because everyone has an off series, right? You look at Tatis, I guess he went 2 for 11, 2 for 13 in the series. Is he terrible now? No, I don't think he's bad. Is Chase DeLauter going to hit 162 home runs for the Guardians because he hit 4 home runs in the first series? Maybe, but that would be pretty impressive, right? So the first series, you always got to give yourself a little grace. But I will say, I think the two biggest concerns for me going into the season were starting pitching and slug. And Nick Pivetta was a bad start, but I was impressed by Michael King and Randy V. And Ramon being the only home run is kind of concerning, but at the same time, it's one series.
Yeah, I'm with you on a lot of that, man. The Nick Pivetta thing worries me though, because he's so overachieved last year from any expectations. And just the hope, I guess, as you're watching Padres games is that he comes out in day one shoves. And that's just the opposite of what happened. It wasn't a continuation. It was just a little nerve wracking. And we'll see how he does in start two. But now is the real questions. And Matt from Divine Sports Gospel with us. You can catch him on the Padres Collective on YouTube as well. Matt, you look at the next two starters for the Padres, and these were the two biggest question marks for the Padres. It's Walker Buehler, it's German Marquez. What do you think would be solid expectations for Padres fans coming into these next 2 days for the starting pitching?
Great question, Fletch. I think, with Walker, right? My brother mentioned this on our podcast, and I think it's a pretty funny but true statement. I think if you give him 20 starts this season, 10 are going to be the worst starts you've ever seen, and 10 are probably going to be pretty decent. So you kind of just got to hope tonight's one of those decent starts. We're facing a Giants team that is having a lot of media, not a lot of good media right now with Tony V, and they mustered up 1 run in 3 games against the Yankees. This is the type of team that you want to see. If Walker gets off to a decent start, maybe he could find something. I think a decent start for Walker Buehler, give me 2 times through the lineup in 3 earned runs at most, right? If you can give me 5 innings of 3 earned runs, I'll be happy with that. Same with German Marquez. I think the offense needs to show up. We're facing Landon Roop. We're not facing Tarek Skubal, right? The 1 run against Tarek Skubal, it happens, boys. You're facing one of the best pitchers in the world. Landon Roop, with our lineup, you got to muster up some runs, man. So when you have a pitcher like Walker or German Marquez, you're 4-5, you got to score some runs. I love where our bullpen's out. I know Jerry had a bad little run, but Bradley's really good. I think that guy is going to be high leverage at 23 years old. He's a star in the making. Obviously, Miller with the corn entrance is insane. Morejon's throwing 101. If Walker can just keep us in baseball games, what happened with Nick Pivetta and why opening day was such a kind of boring game for Padres fans was we weren't in it. If you're within slam range, I think you're in it. Obviously, I don't want Walker Buehler to give up 4 runs in the first inning like Pivetta, but if you give up 3 or 4 runs and we're within a run when we get to the bullpen, I think that's a successful start.
Speaking of that bullpen, because I'm totally with you. The bullpen's stacked. I mean, Bradley Rodriguez, you got David Morgan, you got guys who are coming up that I don't even think get enough credit for how good they could be. Do you have concern though with Craig Stammen, considering he was a bullpen arm, that and the starting pitching staff would be the concern with this team, that it's going to be so bullpen reliant early for like down the road? Or do you think that honestly just do what you got to do and try to keep it alive as long as possible?
Yeah, it's a great question. I think Craig is going to have a very interesting perspective that not a lot of us are used to with a manager, right? I think he mentioned it in a couple of his kind of like preseason press conferences, but not a lot of relievers have become managers in baseball, right? So he understands. Perfect example. Saturday night, I thought he left Jerry in a little too long, right? You walked 3 straight dudes. You're like, what are you doing? Why? And I think he has the reliever mindset of like, hey, I've been in this spot. He wants to get out of this spot. It's early in the season. He did the same thing with Kyle Hart, left it in for high leverage 2 innings, and that worked out. So I think we're going to see a lot of interesting moves with Craig, a lot of moves that maybe as a fan base, we don't agree with at first, given we're coming from a Mike Schilt kind of perspective the last 2 years, where Mike Schilt was like, win at all costs. I will throw Mason Miller in the 8th inning if I have to. We need to win this game. He doesn't care if it was March 30th or September 30th. He's like, I need to win this game. I think Craig's going to be a little different. Do I think that's a good or bad thing? I guess we'll have to find out. I think the luxury of the San Diego Padres is even in the minors, you have Jason Adam, who's coming back. You have Garrett Hawkins, who threw an inning in the minors and looked good. We have arms. So the bullpen isn't necessarily something that I'm going to be worried about unless God forbid something really bad happens. What I am concerned about is starting pitching, right? And just if these guys can stay afloat in games, I think we can win a lot of baseball games. We just can't have what happened with Pivetta. And I truly believe, and Fletch, I think he mentioned it earlier, concerns about Pivetta. that was a weird start for Nick Pivetta. He's not a guy that walks a lot of dudes. Even when he was with Boston, he had, I think, the highest K to walk percentage in baseball. So when he came over, a lot of, the fan graphs and a lot of the more baseball savvy people were saying they're not as surprised he was so good, given a lot of his underlying metrics. That was a weird start. Opening day, nerves, you're facing Tarek Skubal, a lot of things happen. If Walker and Herman can just limit the walks, Herman Marquez is going to give up some home runs, but he also had his last 2 starts in spring training. He had 8 Ks apiece. So give us a shot. If Manny and the boys can hit a little bit, I think we have a really good shot at winning the series and winning most of the series that we play.
That's it right there. If Manny and the boys can hit a little bit, like you can really make starting pitching look a lot better when you're scoring 7 runs a game, which there's no reason this Padres offense shouldn't be. We'll see if it does. All right, Matt, before we let you go, any thoughts on ABS? Our text line, our YouTube chat's been talking about ABS a ton. I love it, man. I think it's great.
I think it's great, man. Who was it? Manager for the Orioles? It was someone got ejected yesterday for it. I think ABS is awesome. Obviously, I understand the umpire's perspectives, right? It's got to look kind of tough when you mess up a call. But I will say, if you were to change perspective on that, it's pretty impressive how many times these umpires get it right? Yeah. It's very easy for me.
It was like a 54% success rate, which is way lower than I thought it would be.
Yeah. So I think it's another. I thought when the pitch clock came that it was the dumbest idea of all time, and we were all going to regret it, and it's going to ruin baseball. And now baseball seems like it's in one of the best spots it's been in our lifetimes. So I think ABS is going to be the same thing, right? Even though we didn't grow up with it, we'll slowly get accustomed to it. I think Campy had a couple where he got it right. It's kind of fun too. Texting your buddies and be like, "Let's go, Campy," or like, "Why'd you challenge that?" So it's another cool thing. So I like it, boys.
So who's Padres collective is fantastic, but the real question I want to ask you is who's harder to work with, Kevin Acee or John Schaefer?
Oh, that's a tough one. I think the answer is me. If you ask both of them, I think I'm the easy answer there. No, they're obviously if you're listening to Sports 760, you know how incredible of a talent John Schaefer is and just a great guy. And Kevin's been so awesome to work with. I've been listening and reading Kevin's articles ever since he was writing about the Chargers growing up. And it's really cool to consider them both friends now. And I think they're have taught me a lot as someone that doesn't necessarily have a media background, but they both couldn't be cooler to work with. And I'm really lucky to be a part of that show.
You guys do a good job. I actually think Kevin's incredibly likable on that show, which
he's a good
how many
guy.
times did you say that?
I know Kevin was smiling. I was like, what's going on, man?
I'll be honest. I've gotten to know Kevin off mic a little bit. Kevin's great, but getting his personality out on air is sometimes challenging, and you guys do a really good job of it.
He kind of is like cool Uncle Kev. That's kind of what I call him, right? He's when he smiles at some of my takes, it makes me feel good. But no, he's he couldn't be a nicer guy, man. And it's cool when you really think about it, right? Like how lucky is it that you both, I get a chance to do it, like chatting about the pods. We love baseball, we love sports. Getting to do that with great people is all you could ask for. So I appreciate you boys for having me on today.
All right, brother. We'll talk to you soon. Let's make this a more regular thing. Matt from Divine Sports Gospel. Lighten it up with some Padres talk. Thank you, Matt. Appreciate you, brother.
Later, boys.
All right, we will close this thing out. We got some announcements to make. I don't know if I'm going to stick on for any of the announcements being made, but they're coming up within 10 minutes. Are we ready for this, Sammy?
We're 15 minutes away from big announcements.
Big announcements on the way here on San Diego Sports 760. We'll read some of these final texts and get you ready for what's next. Coming up next on San Diego Sports 760, live on the iHeartRadio app. Coming up tonight on San Diego Sports 760, Lakers, Wizards. What time does that game tip off, Sammy?
I believe 7. Let me check.
I think that's right. So you can listen to that game tonight right here on 760. And between now and then, there's going to be a lot of new coming your way. So John Schaefer is going to be here in 7-8 minutes with some big announcements. Sammy, you going to stick around for a little bit?
I will be sticking around
for some big announcements. And then at 3:00, some more big announcements are coming from John Schaefer. So make sure you stay tuned. John's not going anywhere. That was the worst text we got on the text line. John Schaefer.
No. John Schaefer is going to be here. John Schaefer will definitely be there.
But we got some other big stuff coming. So stay tuned if you want to hear all the new, which is coming up in just a few minutes. All right, I'm getting out of here in a second, so I do want to fit in some of these last texts. 913, Fletch does the new show, The Zone, no longer ask Sammy if he's ready to have a great show. He needs to be asked that question daily. I apologize. I didn't ask you today, Sammy.
I think Jeremy just asked on the text line now.
You did have a very good show, if that means anything.
You did too.
619, I was today years old when I found out London and England were separate places. Here I was thinking London was the capital. Yeah, I misspoke. Thanks, 619. 858.
Oh, I was about to say. So he's making fun of you because I was like, isn't London in England?
London is part of England. Yes. It's 858. I love hearing that the Rams and 49ers got to travel. I wish they could play every game overseas. Hashtag Go Saints. 858. San Francisco should be happy about playing away in a different country because of their nuclear practice facility.
The fact that John Lynch had to actually answer questions about that the other day was fantastic.
Dude, it's a thing. Like, it is a thing. Enough coincidences mean something. Smoke means fire. All those things. 858. All teams should have an international game in the NFL with a 17-game schedule that can count as a neutral site.
That's interesting.
It's a very well thought out text from the 858, and it is right. If NFL could go back in time and change this one thing, I think it would have made more successful NFL. Instead of bringing the Raiders to Las Vegas, just build the stadium in Las Vegas, and once a year, every team has to play in Las Vegas for a neutral site game.
I like that.
That way, it's the perfect for Vegas because you get to fly in and pick the destination for your one time you go see your team.
But since
Vegas is easy to get to for everybody.
Since they have a team now with the Raiders,
right? I said if you could.
No, I know. Yeah, like I like that idea. That's a good idea. Or how about San Diego?
How about it? There's openings. You can make it happen. Everyone loves.
It would make
sense
Diego for the international game though to have one like this. Like every team has one international game. That way, there's this team has
just make it one site. You know what I mean? Like build something out to where it's easy, whether it's in Mexico City or whether it's in London, whether it's in Australia. Make it one site that everybody has their pilgrimage to once a year.
Yeah,
that makes more sense.
I like that. I mean, or you move it around. It's the NFL is expanding.
The NFL's dude. I'm telling you, we're getting 34 teams at some point within the next few years. It's happening very soon.
The London Tigers,
the London somethings.
The London soccer balls.
Maybe they're going for number 3 in LA. Who knows? It wouldn't surprise me.
Might as well.
All right, we're out of here for today. Stay tuned. Big announcement coming up in like 5 minutes. Don't go anywhere. John Schaefer is coming up next. We will see you all tomorrow, and then keep listening because at 3:00 another announcement, and then later today, Lakers basketball on the air here on San Diego Sports 760. Thank you for being here, listening live on the iHeartRadio app.